Okay, so I've been thinking I want to branch out to talking about some of the other animated things I really like because it does kind of get boring just talking about the same thing all the time. And there's a lot of stuff I've been thinking I'd really have fun commenting on. And yeah, right at the top of the list, if you saw the title, is One Punch Man because I am a very big fan of the show, not the comic. I haven't checked that out yet, but maybe I will someday. I've heard mixed things, but anyway, yeah, big fan of the show, and season 2, it's speculated, is gonna come out around the midpoint of this year, around the summer, sometime like that. I mean, not confirmed, but season 2 is confirmed, and that's everybody's best guess at when it's coming out. So, okay, or at least if it's been confirmed, I haven't heard so yet. But anyway, so okay, I'm gonna make some vlogs, one for every episode, because yeah, I have a lot of fun with this show, but so it'll be something new for me as well. I'm gonna watch the dubbed versions of every episode and comment on those. I've seen all the subbed versions, had a great time with those, but alright, and I will say up front that watching the first episode with the English dub, it was kind of like seeing it with fresh eyes, so this is gonna be interesting, but anyway, One Punch Man. If you don't know the premise, that's very easy to get around because the first episode is just entirely about laying it out. So, alright, there's this guy named Saitama. He was just an ordinary citizen who was unemployed, couldn't get a job, completely bored with life, detached. We do get the backstory of all this, but that's just a little portion of the episode and not even the first one. And yeah, it turns out he was then attacked by a crab monster he saw walking through the city. A man who was transformed into a crab because he ate too much crab, and, you know, if you can't tell, this show kind of has its tongue in its cheek, but, anyway, he was too, emotionless even to run away, even to care, but then when he saw that the monster was going to attack a kid, he intervened, and he decided that he remembered that he had always wanted to be this hero growing up, and they live in a world with lots of monsters, and an organization that employs superheroes, which that's mentioned in this episode. We get more into that later, but anyway, he has decided that he wants to be a hero too, just for the fun of it, even if he can't necessarily make that a job. But alright, so he then just tried to fight the crab monster, this ordinary man in a suit, and he won, and then he did a bunch of training to really get serious about this, and the problem is he did a little too much, because now he can beat every monster in one punch. This is like the Dragon Ball Z sort of thing, like training up to beat the monster only, and then, yeah, after that one's beaten, turns out that one was nothing. The real one has come along next week, but yeah, Saitama, apparently he did too much training at once. He's head and shoulders above all of them, it would seem, and yeah, and now, okay, also part of the premise that they're laying out in the first episode is that because of that, it's gotten boring for him. Like, his emotions are starting to drain away yet again. He doesn't feel fear or excitement or, you know, rage or thrills or anything. It's just, he hits the thing once and it's beaten. But combined with that, though, the other part of the premise is they keep inserting him into plots that have been done a lot, that really take themselves seriously and are really dramatic, and yeah, a big part of the joke is how he has no reason to take them seriously because one punch and he's done with them. And yeah, I think the very first scene in this episode is a perfect microcosm of everything that One Punch Man is. In this beautifully animated sequence, this monster who kind of looks like a blue version of Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z starts just blowing up a city like the citizens see when he first lands. Like, when he first lands from wherever he came from, he hits the ground, this red wave suddenly starts spreading out, and they realize, yeah, I guess half a second too late, if there was ever enough time, that it's harmful, just like people watching out from a window see it coming at them, they all try to duck away, and smashes through the, just like all of it, very, very well animated, very epic, because that's the thing, like, this show, it has its tongue in its cheek, but it doesn't neglect the part of yeah, being a legitimate action show, like that's almost what makes it even more fun. That okay, you've got this very well drawn, in many ways very fun and exciting action show that keeps undercutting itself with some pretty clever humor that like it that yeah, acknowledging which tropes have gotten worn out and which ones deserve to be torn down. It's a real thrill ride. But yes, he's yeah destroying things. Seems like some people are dying. He's marching down the street. You see Saitama watching on TV in his very modest superhero outfit, just this yellow suit with a cape. And okay, the monster approaches this girl crying for her parents and reaches out a hand with like the claws start extending and he's smiling, and then Saitama like whisks her out of the way split second before his hand closes on her, and they square off. The guy, who are you? I'm just a guy who's a hero for fun. And he flips out on him for even thinking that that's a legitimate reason to be here and starts giving his backstory. He is Vaccine Man, birthed from the Earth itself, he's a living embodiment, I think, of the pollution that the Earth has received, and he's here to cleanse humanity from this planet, to remedy the Earth of these germs that are people, and he's like growing bigger and more monstrous as he's saying this, and then inevitably the punchline, Saitama takes him out in one punch, and then like as he's standing there with his like fist smoking, he's just like, not again! Like all it took was one. So, okay, very funny scene, and like I said, everything that One Punch Man is, in a nutshell. And that all said, the first episode was always the one I remembered as the worst one, and I'm not sure if the dubbed version necessarily changes that. And not just because it's the intro laying everything out, because, I mean, I've always said that, alright, anything can be done well, laying out a premise, introducing characters, that can be done very well. That can be the moment where you fall for them head on. Like, that can be the moment where where they present the reason, where you find that bond with that character that then carries you through all the other episodes. I mean, the first episode can, in theory, be the best is what I'm saying, even if it's just about laying out the premise. This one is not, because it seemed like it just had some trouble kind of hitting its stride. Like I said, lots of epic action, undercut with, lots of clever humor. It just seemed like it had trouble finding the balance here. Like that crab flashback is a really, really good example. It's a crab monster with like a ripped upper crab body and human legs and a pair of briefs on, which, okay, it's, kind of a funny image, I guess, but he walks around just like kind of making this crab noise, or I was assuming it was supposed to be a noise a crab would make. In the English dub, it just sounds like the guy making noises to himself. It almost, it's like, okay, it's a silly looking monster, and the same as the kid he's after. He said, I'm after a kid with a big chin, and when he finds the kid, he has like two giant flaps of skin, like fat skin hanging. It looks like a claw almost hanging off his chin, and it's not quite like as bad as when you can just hear the writers or whoever say, get it, a big chin. But it's more a weird image than anything else. You see that, you're like, that's your joke. But okay, and then when he beats the crab monster, like how he does it, he gets tossed around a little, and then he uses his tie to, after dodging a punch, to wrap the thing's eye. Because crabs, I guess, I don't know if crabs actually have eyes that like pop out of there. I don't think they do, but this one does. So, okay, he wraps its eye, pulls it out of its head, and all of the insides with it, the crab meat insides, and okay, saying that, it probably sounds like it's some kind of, I don't know, Evil Dead, Dead Alive, or like lots of anime with gore everywhere, just like, yeah, explosion, rain blood, yeah, but it's not. It comes across more just like seeing someone, and like if you saw someone pull an eyeball out of an animal, or just like playing with the insides, it's not, that the correct reaction to that is not, yeah, it's ew. It's like, it's more cringy than anything else. It's not funny, it's not epic, it's just weird. And I mean, and also then with the next sequence that happens, they insert Saitama into another familiar story that he undercuts these two brothers, one a genius, one training to be the strongest man on earth, like Saitama, and the genius brother gives him a potion that turns him into a giant Hulk, like not the Hulk, like bigger than a skyscraper giant, and the genius brother's sitting on his shoulder as they're walking around claiming they're gonna rule the world now, mind and muscle, and he's just, yeah, killing a bunch of people randomly, and I mean, and Saitama shows up like he's not even bothered, and I mean, and I know, like, he's supposed to have no emotions, but I mean, he doesn't even react, like, they don't even comment on that. I'm like, aren't we supposed to care or something if he's killing endless people? And then you do feel a little sorry for the giant too, because what happens, the genius guy says, kill that guy on your shoulder. There's going to be spoilers in these, by the way, but well, I'll announce when there's spoilers, important ones. Kill that guy on your shoulder, forgetting that the genius brother was on that shoulder and Saitama's on this one. But so yeah, so okay, you think that'd be funny, but then they start trying to play it, well, actually that they start trying to play it seriously is in some ways even more funny, but I mean, I don't know, it's like, it's kind of like they make you feel sorry for this giant guy just so Saitama can then punch his head so hard it almost flies off his shoulders, and he kills him. There's no ambiguity about that, but I mean, it's almost like, it's like trying to be dramatic when it's actually very funny. That's funny. That makes it all the more funny. Like, doing all this tragedy and, like, this borderline tragedy and this grisly sort of notion or imagery, and undercutting that with humor, like, that's dark comedy, and there's a place for that too, but the thing is, it's not played like dark comedy. It's played like waka waka waka, which, yeah, it's a little bit off. And, okay, the other thing, though, and this is criticism of the dub, this is not what I pictured Saitama sounding like. I mean, it's not what he sounds like in the... Granted, when you're listening to a subtitled version, the voices don't register quite the same way because you're spending all your time reading the subtitles. But I mean, yeah, this is not what Saitama sounds like in the original dub, and this is not how I pictured him, because he sounds in this version like very deep voiced and I'm almost kind of hard ass, and that's really not his character. He's I mean, he's cynical, like when monsters start giving him their backstory, like he'll cut them off like, are you done yet? Like, come on, blah blah blah. But he's not yeah, this hard ass so much. Like, he's almost aggressively everyman. Like, he goes to the supermarkets on weekends to catch the sale. He has exact change. He sits around in the tub and watches the bubbles float to the surface, and that is a scene in this episode. Which, but I mean, but yeah, he's just like this aggressively everyman, goofy, kind of dim, but very good-natured, almost very yeah, Dao, even, just like Dao Fu, just like completely unflappable, well, not unflappable, but still very, in his own way, kind of wise, I guess you'd say. Kind of like, he's very good-natured in ways that people can gravitate towards. Like, he has his, like I said, aggressively everyman. He's not like infinite patience and infinite wisdom. But okay, you get it. This guy sounds more like something out of an abridged series. Like, he almost reminded me of like the Tien Shinhan voice. If you've ever seen Dragon Ball Z, the abridged series, like, just, yeah, Honey Badger doesn't give a darn. Just, but okay, it's a little bit off, but in a weird sort of way, it almost made the episode a little better for me, because like all of this stuff that's like, some of it making me cringe, some of it feeling a little bit off to me, like, yeah, just awkward more than funny. The way that he himself seems to not even care about it, and granted, Saitama at this point of his life is supposed to be sort of disaffected, but the way he doesn't even seem to care, like, it almost made it more digestible, like, almost saying that, like, okay, yeah, it almost downscaled the emotions of everything, I guess. Just, yeah, just this cynical, hard-ass sounding guy commenting on all of it, and okay, so yeah, like the scene with the giant guy, that that was, and in fact, that might be part of the reason. The other reason might be, like I said, just hearing the voices and, yeah, taking the meaning of what everyone's saying in directly through those might have been kind of like seeing it through fresh eyes. So I mean, okay, like it, and well, part of why that's important though is because I didn't actually start with the first episode the first time I saw One Punch Man. So okay, you know, for one reason or another, it in the dub version, it played more to me like, you know, okay, all of this weird stuff is happening. Some of it's funny, some of it's sad, some of it's, but you're not supposed to care too much about it. Like, you're supposed to be like Saitama, this guy who just, yeah, is totally cynical and detached. Like, yeah, I don't care very much. Is kind of this Saitama's performance in a nutshell. And as opposed to the slightly higher pitch, just like aggressively everyman Saitama, who is a little bit more, seems a little bit more inherently goofy. Like at this serious, hard-ass sounding voice, it almost undercuts all of the like slightly goofy everyman things we see him doing. How, like, that's part of the joke, how the strongest man on earth is just so, like, yeah, modest and, you know, I guess, what's the word, dumpy, something like that. But, okay, so, still though, I mean, even the first episode I have a lot of fun with, and, yeah, very well drawn. Oh, and, okay, yeah, the last portion, this may be the most significant thing of all, and where the subterraneans invade, and they actually start overpowering Saitama, claiming they've already wiped out 70% of the world, and that was another thing that was a little harder to take originally. Like, okay, Saitama doesn't even care about that. Like, he doesn't, well, he doesn't even acknowledge it is the thing, and then he instead he just starts getting excited that he finally has a challenge, and then he wakes up from his dream, and the real subterraneans are invading, but surprise, surprise, their leader goes down in one punch, and they run away right back under the surface with a, yeah, leaving a flag of surrender. So, okay. This is what it is. It's, I don't know, I guess you could skip it if it's, from what I'm saying, it sounds like you might not go for it either. It's really only for laying out the premise, but there are definitely sequences of it, like the Vaccine Man sequence, that's perfect. That's everything One Punch Man is in a nutshell. The scene with the two brothers, I liked it better this time, so that's probably still worth checking out to the moment where the guy squashes his brother. I mean, just the exact moment his hand hits that you can't not laugh at that from the way they play it. The crab thing was still a little weird, but I mean, and the fight with the subterraneans, so they make that truly epic with the animation, so like even if, well, there's not much to hate about that sequence, truth be told. I mean, I think this episode is a good time. Fair enough. You know, set premise, but fair enough episode laying out the premise. But I mean, I do think that, yeah, okay, for the real fun of One Punch Man, it's the episodes after this that start like really hitting it out of the park, and we actually get a preview for that at the end of this one, where you see this cyborg guy having, yeah, just killed something, and then eyeing the town where Saitama lives. So, alright, we'll talk more about that next time. I'm gonna get to watching it as soon as I can, because really excited here. Hope you're having a good week. I'll talk to you later.